Ellen is a sad girl. She's been sad since a week before her 8th birthday when something really terrible happened to her. Until this day, Ellen has been a happy soul that enjoyed life just like any other little girl out there. She was in Standard 4 at Tambi Primary School in Phalombe district. Happy as she might have been, it only took one man's selfishness to break this girl's bliss, crowning her with this sadness which seemingly has come to stay. On a Tuesday evening in 2017, the most important commodity that every young girl prides herself with was forcibly taken away from her. She was defiled. Technically, her choice of when to debut sex was tampered with and the decision was made for her.
At around 6 in the evening, she came home walking with difficulty, and I asked her what happened to her. She also looked disturbed. When I asked her, she did not disclose to me because the man that defiled her threatened to deal with her and me if she said anything to me or anyone. But after I forced her to take off her clothes and I checked her, I saw that her body had been breached. So I took her to one of the women that I trust in the village. She's a member of a mother group team at Tambi Primary School. Before this woman, the little girl condensed having been defiled, and she mentioned the man. The very same evening, we took her to the health center and reported the matter to police. He was arrested.
Ellen's story is not only sad because she was abused in the manner explained, but rather because the person suspected to have defiled her continues to enjoy freedom out there as of today. Despite efforts by several sectors of society to facilitate the law to take its course, the little girl's case stalled in the court of law after a year of struggling to find justice. It is believed to be due to what was termed lack of substantial evidence. When she was allegedly defiled, the then 7-year-old girl was rushed to a healthy facility in her area, and it is alleged that medical personnel confirmed penetration on her. The medical worker that attended to her on this day produced a medical report outlining findings on the girl's body that suggested she had really been defiled. This was an important document that would definitely serve as evidence in case of any legal proceeding that would follow. She was given emergency protective medicine just in case the defiler had HIV and was told to come back the next day.
When we came back in the next morning, the health worker took the report that he had previously given us and told us it will be kept for safety at the facility. He said until the child is confirmed not HIV positive after taking PEP. Later, this document was claimed to have been misplaced and efforts to get another one kept on being suppressed. It was very surprising that medical personnel seemed not interested to help us in this. I strongly believe the medical workers received a bribe from the perpetrator to furnish the document because they knew it would be the most important evidence in court. Right now, our life has completely changed. We remained laughingstocks of the village, especially among people who sided with the perpetrator. They think we wanted to get their friend or relative jailed for something he did not do. And they kept on saying bad things about us till today. As the older one, I must keep the household strong, so I cry about it in secret. Before the children, I try to be strong and tell them God wanted this to happen, so we shouldn't challenge his decision. I know I'm not being honest. It was a sad development. The household is child-headed with 4 children. The girl you talk to is the oldest one, but she's only 17 now. And by the time this case happened, she must have been 15 or 14. So you can imagine what a blow it was to them. Realizing the severity of the case, we engaged several sectors that fight gender-based violence, such as Male Champions and Father Group. We even reported the matter to the Center for Alternatives for Victimized Women and Children for them to intervene. However, wherever the case went, the document was needed because it held the most important evidence according to the court. Traveling from here to Phalombe Boma is almost 30 kilometers. But when the case started, we were walking this distance every court day to make sure that we are available and there is no excuse. But still, the case failed to bear any fruits. It is a sad thing. Till today, the child remains affected in many ways. She lost her sense of being loved and cared for. She feels like we did not help her, and each time she meets this man that default her, I know she cries and hates us all. Her education has suffered a lot more, especially now that she also realized she got HIV from the defilement. Something needed to have been done better than it was done.
Till today, information surrounding this little girl's case remains scanty. But one thing that stands out in the story is that someone from the health facility that had previously assisted her misplaced a document that held the key to justice in Ellen's case. Sadly, on top of continued effects of the psychological trauma that she was subjected to, Ellen later tested positive to HIV. In Phalombe district, gender-based violence has been on the rise recently. The first-grade magistrate court in the district reviews sexual violence is the worst form of gender-based violence happening in the district. Statistics from the resident magistrate court show that in 4 months from January 2020, the court has presided over 17 sexual offenses, with defilement and rape claiming 94% of the cases. However, while these cases might appear overwhelming, some community structures that assist in the fight against gender-based violence believe that many cases are not reported to relevant authorities. A survey conducted among these community structures shows that there are a number of issues causing non-reportage of cases. Topping the list is the stalling of cases at the courts, as well as lenient sentences that do not suit the efforts put into reporting perpetrators and arresting them.
The
court let us down. They do so many times, and it is a serious problem that is fueling gender-based violence in this area. Once a serious case like that one happens and the perpetrator goes scot-free, our efforts as gender-based violence fighters lose value and we become fools in the villages. Believe you me, the case of the little girl is one of the outstanding examples of our failures that have created serious loopholes in the fight. In this area, most people are very superstitious. They believe in very outlandish things, such as that if you are HIV positive, you can get healed by sleeping with a virgin. That is why you find so many young girls getting defiled. And they try to frustrate our efforts so that the police don't get any tips about defilement and gender-based violence cases. As male champions, we are worried, and until today, we do not get satisfied that that's how the case ended. Just like that. And now the little girl carries lifetime burdens, both in her brain and her blood. This is not the future of Malawi we should be building.
First Grade Magistrate Damson Banda and Executive Director for Phalombe Youth Arms Organization agree with the sentiments, emphasizing on critical loopholes that likely demotivate citizens from reporting gender-based violence cases.
The position is not good because these cases are every week being reported to police and registered at the court. So to have at least one case of defilement per week, that is not a good defilement. That's a big challenge. We definitely expect to have these cases, but not as frequent as every week, and at times even 2 a week. That's not good. And one other thing is that while these cases are being reported, the fact of the matter is that there are so many other cases which are happening out there but not being reported, which is another challenge. And I would believe that there is a need for massive awareness out there in the community so that people are made aware that hiding information or not reporting cases of sexual violence is detrimental to the girl child. And even in cases of rape, they are not normally reported. It's rarely they are reported.
The first challenge is the legal literacy. I think most of our communities, the understanding of the available regulations, the laws, the policies is a bit low. So it becomes difficult for them to notice that this is indeed a violence, it's a police case that we need to report to social welfare office, community victim support units, or police. So yeah, it's a challenge that is contributing to the underreporting of these cases in the district. Second is about distance. You know, we have maybe few courts under the judiciary. So most of the community rely on the traditional courts, which are headed by the traditional leaders. So sometimes the handling of these cases also is not about a bit professional, because they tend to resort in let's discuss and don't push further about this case. You know, maybe if this is jailed, so maybe you'll be at risk as a family. Issues of sexual reproductive health, I think understanding is also low. So most of the community structures or communities, local leaders, traditional leaders, they don't really understand the relevance or the importance of improving sexual reproductive health services amongst young people. So whenever they face this issue, I think it's normal to them. It's not really a challenge to them. So considering that the life skills amongst adolescent girls and women are lacking, so they take it as a normal, you know, as young people. Yeah, I think those are critical challenges that we face.
Across Malawi, issues of gender-based violence raise concerns, with young people being the usual victims to sexual-related violence. In Phalombe district, for example, many girls get defiled and some impregnated by their own stepfathers. In his capacity as chairperson for the Gender-Based Violence Technical Working Group, Magistrate Banda is privileged to come across extremely inhuman cases of sexual immorality that heavily infringe young people's rights.
In one other situation, a man ended up getting 2 stepdaughters, and even the mother was pregnant. So 3 women in one house, 2 stepdaughters and the mother pregnant by one man. What kind of relationship was being created?
In all this, the question remains, what can be done for our young people to be bailed out of this bondage? Vincent Tom thinks it is time for courts to move closer to the people so that issues of distance and lack of resources to attend court proceedings are resolved.
First of all, I think we need to intensify and find the new strategies of doing the civic education and the community awareness. So we need to integrate issues of legal literacy so that the community should first of all really understand the current laws that we have. So after understanding the current laws, I think they will be empowered to be reporting the cases. Secondly, I think we need to strengthen the reporting system and the tracking mechanism. This is empowering the community policy forums and the community victim support units. So this will ensure that they handle the cases professionally. And also, I think giving the capacity to the traditional leaders who man the traditional course, so that whenever they receive a violence case, they should be referring to police or judiciary. The other way is to introduce the mobile course. I think these are crucial. Bring the cost to the local level so that maybe we should reduce the distance that is there between the community and the cost, so that the issues of access to justice should be addressed.
Across the world, Sexual violence is believed to be one of the serious cases of depression and suicide among young people. While Malawian youths continue to suffer sexual violence, it might be the right time to ask ourselves some serious questions regarding the matter. Could it be time for duty bearers to come together and brainstorm on new ways of protecting young people from sexual violence? Could this be the right time to step up on empowering young people to stand up and fight gender-based violence? Could this be time to call on development partners to consider working directly with young people in building their capacities in handling sexual abuse that seem to ruin most of their futures? The answers are amidst us. We are the ones to protect our children and our young people.